Hi everyone, this is our second class on disability embodied in culture. This time we will talk about literature, art, print shows, photography, theater, music, comics, and so on. Disability art is something different than disability in the arts. Disability art is different because it refers more to the active participation or representation of disabled people in the arts rather than the context of the work being about disability. Disability arts does not require the maker of the art to be disabled, nor does art made by a disabled person automatically become disability art just because it was a disabled person that made it. Here's a few pictures of disability art. Each kind of disability is portrayed in paintings, photography, sculptures, design, and so on. Can you give me a few examples of disability art? Can you think of any? There are many disability artists and also artists with disabilities that are blind, deaf, have autism, have physical disability, so they would paint with their head or mouth. There's plenty of dancers. Do you know any? Have you seen any of these art pieces before? One example is Frida Kahlo. She was an artist, and also there's a movie about her work, and she had a mental health condition, and she was a painter as well, and she painted how she felt often, and also her medical issues appear in her paintings. Here is some pictures and examples of deaf artists. A lot of uh, a lot of art connected to deafness would have some connection to sign language and connections to the lack of communication in a hearing society, as you can see on those pictures. There's hands that appear signing, making sounds. There's feelings of exclusion, how we do not hear others and cannot communicate with others. The next slide has several examples of blind artists. And again, if you can notice on the paintings that there is moments connected with eyes and how we cannot see, so we have to touch. There are hands that appear or kind of touches of blind people because that's the way they communicate and connect with the world through touch and hearing as well. So as you can see that on the paintings. Um, there's an artist, his name is Stephen Wiltshire. He's a man with autism and he has a photographic memory. He has been famous for taking a helicopter flight over a city and then painting or drawing rather, and drawing in detail every little window and door of every building that he saw during that 1 hour flight. So you can look him up and some of his incredible artworks. The next slide includes links to exhibitions that portray disability. So click on these links. There is Mayer's exhibition called Scared for Life. There's the Driven exhibition, and there's also the Village Suitcase exhibition, which includes suitcases of people who were inmates of psychological wards and what they packed before they went to those hospitals. Another sample of disability art and performance can be found if you just look up disability art or disability culture on YouTube. And you can see some disability dances and performances created by disability artists. Here is 4 links to different dance companies. One of them is Synth Invalid. There is Heidi Latsky Dance Company. There is the GIMP Project and also Access Dance Company. All of these have people who are non-disabled and also people who have different disabilities dancing and performing together. Through Deaf Eyes is another example of a deaf performance made by deaf artists. There is several videos that deaf people made about their own deafness and how they feel and how they examine the world through their deaf eyes. So I will recommend that you check all these videos. Um, Also, and that is what our assignment is about, disability appears in music. There's tons of videos and songs in American Sign Language because deaf people cannot obviously hear the lyrics. So there's interpreters and people who sign the songs in sign language. As you can watch these videos, look at how the dynamics of their signing changes according to the music and to the lyrics. It's just not kind of flat signing. It has energy and it has different motion. The way they sign it, it's quite musical. It's really beautiful. So watch that. It's just really beautiful to watch how we can express music through our hands and expressions. Another area of disability arts is stand-up comedy. I have linked Keith Wan and Craig Wallach. Keith Wan is a child of deaf parents. He's hearing, but he signs and he is a comedian who put his performances together through his experiences with deafness as a child and his deaf parents as well. It's quite funny, so please watch some of them. Craig Wallach is we have already watched his video Fuck the Disabled. His short movie. He is a person with cerebral palsy. He's also gay and he lives in Bronx. And he's a comedian. He's really funny, and the way he talks about all these bodily experiences in his life. So watch some of those videos if you want to laugh. Disability also appears in humor. There's two comics representations of disability. The first one is titled The Parent Side. It says, "Welcome kindergarten registration," and there's a teacher and a tiny little person, a kid on a wheelchair, and the teacher is holding a checklist that says, "Does the child walk or prefer to run? Can child hop on one foot? Can the child dresses himself or herself? Does he need assistance? Can he stay seated?" And so, looking at the child on a wheelchair, all of this is ridiculous. And at the bottom, it says, "How do you fill out those ridiculous forms?" The next picture has a principal and a parent. Then the principal is looking at some papers and says, "Oh yes, we have had wheelchairs here before." And the mom answers, "Actually, I was hoping to enroll my daughter, Sarah, and not a wheelchair." That talks about how people often see the disability first as an item, as a characteristic of the person, and they don't see the person. There are several comic strips and cartoons, lots of jokes about deaf people and blind people, people in wheelchairs, or anyone appear in cartoons and comic strips. And what is funny is that they are mostly created by people with disabilities, not by the general society. Also, it is quite typical that deaf people, for example, would have jokes about blind people and vice versa, about other people with disabilities. There's other examples of comic strips and cartoons. A really good artist is titled, or his nickname is Krippen. So if you click on the links, you can get more of those cartoons and comic strips if you want to laugh. It is all about disability and how funny it can be in real life, but mostly you can see that all of these funny moments stem from public perceptions and false perceptions on disability. few more examples of disability in cartoons. So look at those videos. The last one, well, there's two horses. On one, there's two horses drinking, and one has been in some accident and has lots of bandages all over. And he said, "Yeah, I used to do the birthday party circuit. Now I'm living off disability checks." And the last one has two girls and a boy, and one of the girls says, "Of course he has a learning disability. He is a man." And there's another little one. There's a person sitting on an armchair, and the dog is bringing his artificial leg to him. Disability appears in literature. Attached on Blackboard are two lists of books. One is for adults and one is for children that include disability characters, and these list of books are quite comprehensive. So look through them, and again, it will help you understand how disability is all around us. And next time you read any of those books, you will hopefully have a disability lens and will be more informed about how disability is portrayed. Can you think of any other books or children's stories that you know that you have read that portray disability? Disability appears in poetry. The Disability Studies Quarterly, which is a disability journal, has a list of all kinds of poems in their archive, so there is another link to that. Disability also appeared in freak shows. Freak shows were popular in the 19th century, but they are also still popular now in Coney Island. They still exist. They portray all kinds of oddities and disfigurements mostly, but freak shows today, such as the one on Coney Island, they want to portray people not as different bodies, but they want to they just take it as a job like anyone else. One person who is part of these freak shows is Jennifer Miller. She is the bearded bird. I keep making mistakes when I say beard or beard. The bearded woman. She has kind of like a she's like a circus performer in the freak show in Coney Island. She swallows fire and she can escape straitjacket. And she also is a woman with beard or beard. Never mind, you know what I mean. So again, you can look at her at YouTube links and watch some of her show pieces. Disability is also in music. There is music schools and there's sign language songs, and people have bands and they are drumming and they sing and they perform. And I found a list of 10 top musicians with disability, such as Stevie Wonder, Ray Charles, Beethoven, or Rick Allen. Alex Lubet is another one who is a person without a hand, who is a beautiful violin player. And disability appears in many songs. We don't often realize that they are about disabilities, but we have to train our ears to hear that. Just like having a disability lens, you have to have a ear to realize that there is disability in songs and in music. So one song that I found is by Frightened Rabbit, the Moral Leper. Here's a link to that, so you can listen to that. And for your assignment, you will be trying to find a song that has disability themes in it, or is played by a group with people with disabilities. To conclude, there is a question for you: what other disability art or disability in art comes to your mind? Have you ever been to an exhibition? Have you ever seen any movies? Have you read any book on disability? And lastly, listen to songs and popular music and try to hear disability in it. Thank you and have a good weekend.